Strike that 4K.
Fog machine. It should be there. You just hit the button, James.
Can somebody tell me where our hosts are?
Yeah.
Green Beach?
Where are the fruit snacks? White on set.
Alright, let's get this done.
Roll camera. Roll sound. Season 1, Episode 1, marker. And action. Welcome to All the Hats, a podcast about filmmaking and industry. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a brand new episode of All the Hats, a podcast about filmmaking and industry. My name is Eric, with a K.
And I'm James Gary.
And do we have an episode for you today? But before we get started, James, what's been going on, man? It's been a while since we've actually gotten onto this.
It has been a while. It's been a long while. I just got off a set of something called Country Boys. So It's just a small production. It just had a camera guy and a sound guy and actors. Lots of actors.
It's always good to have actors when you're making a movie.
Yeah. So, yeah. It went pretty good. It was like a weekend, like a show where you just worked weekends.
Okay.
So
yeah.
It was a very low budget. But if it gets picked up, which is a maybe all the time.
Yeah. And I know you and I have talked about this in the past, but who are they looking to pick this show up? Because it is a show. It's supposed to be a show. And is it a pilot or is it just a development project?
It's a pilot. Okay. So I think they're trying to get Netflix, but I think they're just going to go with whoever.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense. In the indie world, you get what you can,
Yeah.
Until you're getting everything, and then you're set.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And what are you working on, man?
So lately I've been working on a couple of projects for HGTV. One is, I'm not going to give away the names of the shows, but one, we're in the third season. So I've been working on the third season of a show. And then I just recently completed a development project last weekend, which I don't know when this is going to air, but it was relatively recent, which they're hoping that HGTV will end up picking up. So we're going to find out within the next couple of months. So we'll see how that goes, but pretty much just been doing that, and then, of course, writing.
Yeah.
Spending a lot of time writing. I know we got the script that I've been working on for you and I for the project that we talked about in our episode 0. And we're probably going to talk a little bit more about that later today. But yeah, so keeping busy, for sure. Here in super hot Atlanta. I mean, it's so warm outside. So
yeah, and our AC is broke.
And our AC is broken.
So breaking the fourth wall. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we also turned it off, but I think it's still blowing air. So you probably hear that in the background.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, well.
Welcome home. So I also worked on this, I don't know if you call it a commercial, but like a thing for the government. So it's about not texting and driving.
Okay.
So they're going to play an infomercial because there's been new laws made for Georgia with all that.
Yeah,
so.
I've been seeing the signs, all of the electronic signs that they have on the highway. I've been seeing it all over the place, don't text and drive, which is really weird to me because the whole idea, I understand texting, but they also don't want you reading the text. But then there's all these signs that are making you read and look away from the road. Wait a second.
Yeah.
This isn't really working out.
Yeah, I think the new thing is it's called a one-touch rule. So if you can't touch your phone with one touch, then you're not supposed to be able to do it. So.
I see.
So if something comes up on your GPS saying, do you want to switch to another route? You can touch it and change it to the other route.
Yeah.
But if you have to touch it multiple times,
type in an address or something,
you can't
like that.
Do that. You're not supposed to.
Okay, so. I see what you. Okay.
Yeah.
The law, man. The law.
Yeah, and I'm helping them out. I'm just kidding around. Yeah, I have to actually send my sound files to him today. Yeah, I'm just getting started, so I have a bunch of gear, but it's not the top quality gear just yet.
But actually, since you brought that up, I think it'd be pretty interesting because you are a sound guy.
Yeah.
And so you did just buy gear recently, and you just mentioned it's not the greatest gear, but
Yeah.
it's gear nonetheless. So for those of our listeners out there who are starting up in the sound industry, what is some of the gear that you bought that maybe they too might look into and possibly get,
So I got
It's all
I
right.
bought some H1s for lavs because the wireless lavs are like $1,500 each, and there are some cheaper wireless lavs. Like my roommate just got some for like $200, which is way better than this. But I'm not sure what the quality on those are and how many channels you have available. So I'm not sure what the quality is on those. So I'll probably ask him to test them. I was thinking about that, like testing his and then seeing if I like them. And when I have like a little extra money, I'll go and buy some. So that's the plan
for sure.
So,
so you got the lavs, you got the H1s. Boom. You did you have the boom, or did you just recently buy?
Well, I bought somebody was selling their gear, so I bought like a starter kit from like a friend.
Okay.
And then from there I added to it. So
okay, so you got quite a bit of equipment. And overall, are you willing to give a rough estimate of price that you spent on all that equipment?
Probably close to $3,000.
Close to $3,000, which still isn't bad though, all considering for industry standards.
Because little things, it would surprise you how much like little things cost. Like just buying like the case to put everything in, and because some jobs I'm going to be doing on my own, so just buying the straps to hold it on my body,
right,
was $300 just for both of those.
Okay.
And that stuff just adds up real fast.
Yeah, for sure.
Because just that, and then you add the starter kit I got, which was $500, which was a mixer, a boom mic. That's just already past $1,000.
Right.
So,
and I mean, it's good for you because I think a lot of people, and I was the same way getting into the industry. I always figured, well, if a company's going to hire me to do something, a production, then they're obviously going to have the equipment for me to use, which just isn't really the truth unless you're working on a relatively high budget or, big production like HGTV. I've been working on, we rent all of our equipment for HGTV.
Yeah.
Other than sound guys, they bring all their own stuff. But camera
which
department,
is weird.
Yeah, which is weird. But the camera department, electric, and all that we rent. So for people getting into sound, it is better to have your own equipment, even for camera, especially an independent.
You
films,
should, as a camera guy, you should at least have your basic stuff.
Right.
Because you should know how to operate a camera. And part of knowing and learning is having it yourself so you can test it, use it, know how certain things work. But you can buy a cheaper camera to do that with.
Right.
Oh,
yeah, for sure. I mean, so I think that's the big thing. Like, I remember in school, there was always like, oh, we should buy Reds or we should get this, we should get that. It's like, you don't need to do that. You can buy a $200 camera. You can use your iPhone nowadays and still get really nice shots if your lighting is right. Which actually brings me to another point. If you're going to own a camera or you want to get in the camera department, you should have some lights to use.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because that's
I thought you were going to ask me what camera should you buy. I was like, I don't know.
Why would you know? Yeah, I know you don't know. But lighting, again, you and I had a conversation a couple of days ago about some people who just have lighting but don't seem to know how to use it correctly for their shots. And I think personally, for me, and I'm sure there's others who will contest to this, being a good cameraman isn't just operating the camera, but it's operating the lighting for the camera too to get the right image that you want. Because it's not just all in camera. Like people think, oh, you can fix it in post. You can't fix everything in post, and it's better to get everything you can in the shot when you're shooting it,
which I think
have to go and color it later.
Which I think also, like, there's a ton of jobs just for picture, because like you can set up the camera angle, but if you don't have cool things in the shot, you need art and props and stuff like that in order to make it look.
Oh yeah, for
better.
sure. I mean, and that goes in like being 3-dimensional. I mean, I'm sure you can use a flat space, but a flat space would probably work in certain situations and storylines. Sure. But the majority of the shots that you're looking at, you want some type of space behind it. You want to see the depth that there is, when you're shooting these shots. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot that goes into getting in the camera, and that goes into lighting, and of course you have to work along camera because you got sound stuff. And I don't. Do you have anything that hooks up to the cameras? Do you have anything that hooks up to the cameras yet? Or
I don't.
Okay,
but most of the cameras have like a small mic somewhere in them,
right?
So they're getting scratch automatically most of the time, unless it's a really cheap camera,
Right?
And or a really expensive camera. Most of the cameras in between have some kind of mic thing. Some of the expensive cameras, they're just for camera, so they don't care. There might be like an input somewhere for sound, but they don't have their own like onboard like mics or something.
Right.
So, so like the red, at least the red that we worked with, the Scarlet, they don't have like an onboard mic.
Right.
Like you have to stick a mic in there. But if I had to, like I do have like a cheaper mic, NTG1, that I can throw on top of a camera and just bongo tie it down. So like I could quickly like have sound going to camera.
Right.
But I'm not sure if I have the wires to go in the different types of cameras.
Yeah.
Like I'm not sure what all the plugins are.
Okay.
It's probably mostly like TRS. Is it TRS? TRS.
I think so.
Which is a TRS cable or a XLR cable. So it's probably one of those two. So yeah.
Right. There you go. There it is, right there.
Yeah. So it's probably one of those two. So eventually I'll buy a cable. Cables are actually more expensive than you think. Also, I bought like a specially made cable for my lavs, and they were like $44 each. That's like already $100 just for two small. They were short cables.
Right.
Two really short cables.
It's so. See, it sounds intimidating right now because you're like, oh, you got to spend money on this and that and this. But the truth is, if you want to get somewhere, especially independently, then you need to spend money in order to earn money. And I learned that a lot just in writing too, because I have like friends and acquaintances who have never really gotten into writing. They have ideas and they've tried writing stories, scripts or otherwise, and they send it to me to edit or to just go review it and things like that. And like this one guy in particular, he sent me a story and asked me if I can turn it into a script, which, I'm okay with doing. I like testing myself, see if I could do it. But the thing was he wanted to send the script into a film festival or a script competition, And I was reading posts because we were talking about this on Facebook, and he mentioned how I was going to do this. And somebody had reached out to him and said, well, that's nice, but whatever you do, don't spend money to get it reviewed. Like, don't pay him anything. And I'm thinking, like, wait, that's not how this industry works. I don't do handouts,
Yeah.
Or at least you should. I mean, obviously you can with friends and stuff like that. It's not a big deal. And I was doing it for free for him. But I told him, like, look, the story, it's a story. Something's there. I could turn it into a script, but as soon as I do, it's my work, not yours.
Yeah.
So I'm not handing it over to you to turn into a film festival where you can make potentially $500 off of it. Yeah. Unless you're paying me for this script. Yeah. Because in the end, it's your story, but it's still my script, Yeah. And I just think some people don't quite understand that yet, which it's like, it's pretty easy to research and learn about that. But when you're not accustomed to the industry, film industry in particular, or whatever it is that you're working in, it can be a little, frustrating.
But I mean, for me, like, I'm not the best writer, but I have like ideas that I feel like are worth something. When I write them down, I feel like I thought it out and I have a decent idea. But I'm terrible at dialogue and I'm terrible at explaining things in real life. Like in general.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Like if you're an idea guy or girl, then heck yeah, pitch those ideas. Somebody out there's going to like the idea and want to write it for you or with you. Yeah. And that's what we're doing now with the duplex, similar thing, your idea. And I'm just spinning off it. And we're writing
personally, like, I mean, I do sound as a job and I'm not really worried about making money off of my ideas. Right. Not really. Right. I mean, obviously if we make it into something and I'm doing a part of the job making it, then obviously I'm going to make money off of that process.